Good morning, dear children. How are you? I hope you all are fine and taking good care of your families. So, children, today we'll begin with the next poem in your syllabus, which is entitled The Lake Isle of Innisfree, written by William Butler Yeats. Now, before we proceed towards reading the poem, I would like you all to know something about the poet William Butler Yeats. William Butler Yeats was born in Dublin, Ireland on June 13, 1865. He was the son of a well-known Irish painter, John Butler Yeats, and he quickly discovered during his lifetime that he preferred poetry. So he became involved with the Celtic revival. So there was a movement at that time which sought to promote the spirit of Ireland's native heritage. So to promote the spirit of the Irish heritage, this movement was there, and Yeats became involved with that and was deeply involved in the politics going on in Ireland in the 20s. And despite Irish independence from England, his verse reflected a pessimism about the political situation in his country and the rest of Europe. So, this poet was a writer about political movements and political situation of his country and all over the Europe, and used to write about everything in his poetry. So he was also awarded the Nobel Prize in 1923, and then he died in 1939 at the age of 73. Now, introduction to the poem. What is there in this poem? The Lake Isle of Innisfree. This is a lyrical poem, which means this is a rhyming poem, and it's written by W.B. Yeats. He presents a very fine picture of nature, and on the Lake Isle of Innisfree, the poet spends a lot of time during his childhood. It is the place which provides him ample peace and satisfaction. So he desires to go back to the bank of the lake, and there he'll stand on the roadway to hear the lake water lapping with slow sounds, which gives him peace. So he wants to go back to the Lake Isle of Innisfree. So now let's read the poem together. Open your books and let's read together. Stanza 1. I will arise and go now and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin built there of clay and battles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee loud glade. So, this stanza 1, I'll arise and go now and go to Innisfree. The poet says that I here refers to the poet William Butler Yeats, and he says that he wants to go to Innisfree, and there he will build a small room for himself with clay and small sticks which are used to make the walls or the fences of the cabin, and there is the word used for these sticks, wattles, in line 2. So he says he will also need some food to eat, and so he will grow 9 rows of beans near his room. So he'll grow some rows of beans near his room, and also he will get some honey from the honey beehive which will be present there. And he says that the open space where he will build his room will be full of the buzzing sound of the bees, and over there he will live alone in peace and in tranquility. He wants to live alone. He wants the feeling of peace, calmness and tranquility. So he wants to go to the Lake Isle of Innisfree. So children, here arise means to get up, Cabin is a small hut, and wattles are the branches of the tree which are used, which I mean you can also call them small sticks, which are used to make the walls or the fences of the cabin. And the poetic devices used in the first stanza is alliteration, a hive for the honey bee. So here hive, honey bee, her sound has been repeated, so there is a poetic device called alliteration. Moving on to stanza number 2. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There's midnights all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evenings full of the linnets' wing. Here, linnet is a small grey and brown colored bird with short beak, and veil means a cover, a thin cloth which covers something, and glimmer means weak light, right, fluctuating light, and crickets here mean insect. So in this stanza, the poet says that when he'll be in Innisfree, he will be peaceful, and he says that the feeling of peace is felt slowly and gradually. He describes how he would feel peaceful in the morning time when it is cloudy and the view is not very clear. Then he'll appear as if the morning has worn a veil. I mean, when nothing appears and it's quite a blurry image, so it will seem as if there is a veil, there is a cloth which is covering and has hidden itself. Looking at this scene will make him peaceful. And further he says that when the male cricket insect will sing a song, the sound will bring him at peace. And also at midnight, when he will see the twinkling stars in the open sky, the shine will give him peace. And in the afternoon, when the sunlight will give a purplish glow, it will also give him peace. During the evening, when he will see the linnet bird flying in the sky, then also he will feel peaceful. So on the whole, what he wants is, he only wants calmness, peace and tranquility, which he is sure that he will get when he'll go to the Lake Isle of Innisfree. So here this phrase, the veils of the morning, has two poetic devices. First one is personification, because the veil is usually associated with the woman, so here it is personified. And the veils of the morning also has metaphor in it. Veils of the morning, because it means the fog or the dews which is the fog or the dew which is there in the morning. So the metaphor is also there and personification is also there. Also there is a literary device in this stanza called as anaphora, because the words peace and dropping have been repeated. And why have they been repeated? Because so that to lay emphasis on the calmness and easy pace of things in the nature. I hope stanza 2 is clear. Moving on to the final stanza, stanza 3. I will arise and go now, for always night and day. I heard the lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore, while I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey. Pavement is sidewalk. I hear it in the deep heart's core. So here lapping means to hit gently. Pavements mean sidewalk on the road, and core means to the depth. Shore means edge or the bank. So in this stanza, the poet says that now he will stand up and go to Innisfree, because all the time the sound of the lake waters striking the shore repeats in his mind, recapitulates in his mind, and this sound attracts him towards the lake. This sound is quite fascinating, and wherever he is, either standing on the roadway or on the grey colored pavements, he hears the sound deep in the innermost part of his heart and from the core of his heart, and is quite fascinated that he badly wants to go there. Here also, in the phrase, the lake water lapping with low sounds, repetition of low sound is there, so this is alliteration. And anaphora, again, I will arise and go now. This phrase has been repeated so as to give a smooth flow to the poem and to bring about poet's decisiveness. So anaphora is there in stanza 3. So children, I hope the poem is clear. You can get back to me in case of any doubt or query. Thank you.